Good evening, everyone. Welcome to American History. And today's topic we're going to be covering today is dyslexia in American history. For those of you that do not know what is dyslexia, allow me to give you a breakdown of the word dyslexia. Dyslexia. Dys is Greek for the word ill, difficult, or bad. And for the part of dyslexia, lexis is Greek for word. No, it doesn't mean the car. I wish it were, but no. Allow me to define you what is dyslexia, which is a learning disorder that involves difficulty reading due to problems identifying speech, sounds, and learning how they relate to letters and words. Also, it's known for being a reading disability, and it affects different areas around the brain. Who gets affected? Approximately in the United States, 1 in 5 people are affected by dyslexia, and sometimes it depends on the severity of dyslexia. One person can suffer with dyslexia and be fine to read, but can't process other ideas or is unable to read types of imagery or prefers visual to learn as opposed to reading from a book or reading online. And here's a diagram of what the brain looks like, and you'll see that it can either affect the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and vision. And sometimes you probably would see words that are scrambled. For a normal person, you would just be easy to be reading fine. Allow me to distinct the different types of dyslexia. There's phonological dyslexia, which is the most common one in young kids and young adults, which is defined as difficulty having to read. And sometimes on the diagram that you see above on the corner, a normal person would be able to read the alphabet A, B, C, D. Meanwhile, for this person that is dyslexic, they can't process A, B, C. They could probably misread it and see different shapes or different things on their eyes that prevent them from reading properly. There's surface dyslexia, which is also a different part of phonological, but you are unable to read words that have silent letters to them. Like you want to say wait when you mean actually wait, or you lost weight and you can't read the GHT part of wait, or debt as well. There's also visual dyslexia. Some people can't read pictures or can't look at a proper image without feeling blurriness in their eyes, and it doesn't necessarily affect your vision, but it only affects your brain is unable to process the image as if you have pixels in your eyes from a camera. There's also double deficit dyslexia, which is a combination of rapid naming and phonological. For rapid naming in particular, this affects your memory. Your other lobe, let me return back to it, which affects your temporal lobe, and you are unable to remember the letters of the alphabet properly without missing a letter or avoiding that letter entirely. Or same goes with the numbers. And your brain acts like a hard drive, and if it's able to remember what you said, you are able to recite it by heart. And if you are unable to, you will be slow in trying to say A, B, C. And now to the history aspect of this class. It was first discovered and referred to as word blindness in 1877 by a German physician named Adolf Hasmol. The reason why he named it as word blindness, it meant people that weren't able to read, and it was stigmatized as a form of blindness, as if they actually had problems with their eyesight. It was not officially called dyslexia until Rudolf Berlin in 1877, when he did special research on different children and did data sheets on different people that are able to read compared to the people who can't read. It was and dyslexia was never published until 1896 by a British physician / psychologist, William Morgan Pringle, in the British Journal of the Congenital Brain. I think I missaid that, but you'll have to research that on your own. And since we're mentioning historical figures, here's one fine example of a person who has suffered from dyslexia. Woodrow Wilson, born 1856, he passed away in 1924. He inherited dyslexia from his parents, but his parents never actually had dyslexia. So historians have difficulty processing that he actually had because there's no medical information on or medical documentation to verify that he was. He did have trouble reading, of course. His parents were able to support him, especially his father. He's a pastor. He is able to read him the Bible every day, constantly, as if it were a bedtime story. His mother was able to provide the best tutors from Britain to the United States. Um, Through all his parents' support, he was able to graduate Johns Hopkins College, and he later attended Princeton University before he became the president of the university itself in 1902 till 1910. He reformed the school from becoming a playground for the elite to a more open open campus for underprivileged students, but mostly to people that were able to afford, but not able to have, but to genuinely study, not to have fun or fraternize with other rich people. He also became the governor of New Jersey. He ran in 1910, got sworn in 1911, and he ran for governor. He stayed governor until 1913 before he became president of the United States. He got elected, of course. Um, there are two major achievements that he became that he managed to propose. The first one, if you hate taxes, dare I say, he proposed the gradual income tax that we have today based on what you earn from your work. And he also established the Federal Reserve. And given that fact, the Federal Reserve's role is to manage money supply. And also his contributions for World War One, even though the peace was only going to last for 20 years, he established the 14 points that created the League of Nations. The League of Nations was supposed to serve as the international body to settle disputes between nations. Unfortunately, the United States never joined the League of Nations. The second historical figure I'm willing to mention, because I love Disney, is actual Walt Disney himself. He grew up having trouble reading. As a way to cope with his lack of reading, he was able to learn to draw. Instead of reading, he would draw things, and he even learned to draw animals, mostly mice. And that's how you got characters like Mickey, Minnie Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck, and Pluto. The list goes on and on for him because he was a director, he was a producer, he even was the CEO of Disney Studios. He created films like Steamboat Willie, which is the first black and white cartoon that actually had sound. It came out in 1926, and for those of you that are nuts on Disney, he also helped produce Snow White, Peter Pan. There's a lot more, but I can't mention the entire list because he has a good resume in terms of Disney films. And back to the reality for teachers. What can we do as teachers to accommodate these students? I looked these up on Edutopia, which I will put on which you'll see under my references page of my slide, is provide access to audiobooks. Plus, people love audiobooks. You can even provide Kindle Fires if you are willing to ask the district to allow us to allow buying Kindles and Kindle Fires, but only keeping them on book-based use. You also could bring Alexa, and the Alexa can also read you the audiobook. The second is allow students to use applications on their computers, their iPads, or even their cell phones. But however, they must be limited to note-taking based related activity. Technology is always helpful. Here's some applications that I found: Notability and Evernote. Those are good sites to use for note taking. And permit students to record the assignment. I'm prepared to let any student to record if they are having trouble following along, and they can use it to play back on any directions that I provide them. There's also applications online, like through Android and Apple. The Text Help app, which is a word processor that goes based on the teacher's voice, and the student is willing to play back the lectures as well, just like a tape recorder. Also, for teachers, here's a fun proposal that I saw on Edutopia. Reduce the amount of homework, which I could be for with for students that suffer dyslexia. I'm prepared to even let students split up the homework. If they want to do the first half, I'm willing to be available to help them out. Or if they could collaborate with their fellow classmates in doing half the homework, and whatever is left over, they can take it home and finish it out. That way, they don't take too long struggling with the same word problem or reading or any form of worksheet related activity. The second to last one is encourage text to speech. There's a browse aloud application on your computer that you could use through your Apple MacBook Pro, Surface Pro, and any standard computer. And the last one, this one will probably be on the teacher's call. You can tutor them as well. You have to have patience with people that have dyslexia because it really is hard for them to read as well. And you are prepared to even donate your time if you like to do it right after school if they need additional help. And here is my reference page. And as I mentioned before on my lesson plan, there is also an episode of George Lopez for those of you that really want to see if there's dyslexia mentioned in the media. So there's a perfect example on George Lopez episode 3 of season 2. It's called "Give the Dyslexic the," and I don't know if there was an expletive on that one, but bear with that. And that's it for the lecture. Have a great day, everyone.